A Trichard man, accused of murdering his ex-girlfriend and setting her house on fire, appeared in court in Secunda in a shirt with a cross stitched on his back and a Bible in his hand. Christopher Graham Watson was set to stand trial for the brutal murder of Angelique Fourie, his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his then 3-year-old daughter, who was stabbed to death in November of 2021. He briefly appeared in the Secunda Magistrate Court during April of 2022, where his case was eventually transferred to the High Court in Delmas, Mpumalanga. His trial was set to start in October of 2022. In court, Watson was said to appear extremely calm, and he wasn't fazed by the proceedings as he sat in the accused bench reading his Bible. The events, however, that led to this trial were characterized as one of the most brutal murders that South Africa has ever seen. Not only was it a heinous act against a woman and a mother, but Christopher Watson, better known in the community as Stoffie, killed Angelique Fourie in front of their little girl. Angelique started dating Christopher Watson when she was only 16 and still in high school. They met through a neighbor and a friend of Angelique, who had previously also dated Christopher. It is reported that Angelique saw Christopher as her knight in shining armor, and initially they had a very loving relationship. It wouldn't be long, however, before the cracks began to form. Christopher became extremely possessive and jealous, and ultimately started isolating Angelique from her family. At the end of her grade 11 year in high school, he picked her up from her parents' home, and she officially moved in with him. During this time, Angelique was not allowed to have any contact with her family, and according to reports, Christopher would threaten to kill Angelique should she go near her family. She also wasn't allowed to wear certain clothing that would reveal too much of her body, and she had to swim in a t-shirt. She also wasn't allowed to go anywhere when he wasn't present. Physical abuse would enter their relationship as well. It is reported that Christopher physically assaulted Angelique on several occasions. The attacks would range from hitting and kicking to him throwing Angelique down flights of stairs. When Angelique was about 22 years old, a close friend noticed the bruises and marks on her body. Angelique would, however, explain this away by saying that she walked into a door frame. Angelique eventually rekindled her relationship with her mother and started confiding in her about some of her relationship problems. She told her mother that she got pregnant by Christopher, but that she would never hold her baby as he forced her to terminate the pregnancy. Angelique, however, didn't react well to the procedure and experienced excessive bleeding. Instead of helping his girlfriend, Christopher locked her in the shed at their home to avoid her asking anyone for help or contacting her family. The physical abuse in their relationship never stopped. In fact, it would only get worse. Police would on specific occasions phone Angelique's parents to come to the couple's home after one of these attacks, and Christopher would tell her mother that he did assault her and there was nothing that she could do about it. Angelique later became pregnant again, and this time she would keep her baby. They appeared to be a happy family of 3, and it is reported that Christopher was a very good father to his daughter. However, he still was not a good partner to Angelique. During her pregnancy, Christopher kept abusing her and even kicked her while she was carrying their baby. After the birth of their daughter, he lifted Angelique against the wall and proceeded to strangle her until she passed out. When she woke up, she was laying on the floor in their hallway, and her daughter was sitting beside her, waiting for her mother to come too. This would be the turning point for Angelique. She knew that she had to get out of there for the sake of her daughter. According to friends and family of Angelique, she refused to allow her daughter to see this behavior. 6 months before her brutal murder, Angelique moved into her own apartment in the Terra Nova village complex in Trichard. After she left the abusive relationship, Christopher resorted to stalking her. One evening when she was driving, he pushed her off the road, opened her door, pulled her out of the car, and beat her to the point where he broke her jaw. Angelique's mother begged them to move in with her, but Angelique told her that they were in a secure complex and that she was safe. She wasn't, though. On the evening of the 7th of November in 2021, Angelique was in her home having coffee with a neighbor when Watson broke down her door. He had been watching Angelique from outside her complex when he saw a male neighbor entering her house. He proceeded to make such a scene at the gate until someone in the complex eventually opened the gate. Inside, he found Angelique and her neighbor sitting on the couch having coffee, and her daughter was playing on the floor in the same room. He started by verbally assaulting the neighbor, and then hit him until he eventually broke free and fled the scene. Angelique was next in line, and after beating her, he grabbed a knife and started stabbing her repeatedly. The assault started in the kitchen and ended in the bathroom, where Angelique eventually lost her life. She was stabbed 13 times, 8 times in the neck and 5 times across the arms, back, and legs. She reportedly also had several cuts in her hands from trying to shield herself from the attack. Watson left Angelique in the bathroom to go to the kitchen. He opened the gas leading to the stove and then set a dustbin on fire in order to burn down her apartment, and along with it, any evidence that he was involved. He then picked up their 3-year-old daughter, who had witnessed the entire murder, and left. Watson dropped off his child at his sister's house, and later handed himself over to the Norcombe Park Police Station in Kempton Park on the 9th of November in 2021. His bail application was abandoned in the Secunda Magistrates Court on the 17th of November in 2021. During his time in Bethel Prison, he got a tattoo of a coffin with the words "Rest in Peace, Angie" written above and below the coffin. This, along with the Bible that he brought to court, and the shirt that he wore with the big cross on it, was said to be attempts by Watson to show remorse and to hopefully get sympathy from the court and the community. Angelique's friends and family went to court wearing shirts that read "Stop GBV Against Women and Children" on the back, and "Justice for Angie" on the front. Watson pleaded guilty to the heinous crime and was sentenced to life in prison. In a plea and sentence agreement, Watson also pleaded guilty to assault with the intent to cause grievous bodily harm and was sentenced to an additional 3 years in prison. Angelique Fourie was described as a bubbly young lady and an impeccable mother. She had so many dreams for their future, and they were all crushed and broken by a man more than twice her size. Her little girl was left without a mother of her own, and a father who in jealous rage tore her family apart. Angelique was a loving daughter and mother who bravely fought till the end to be with her little girl. Angelique Fourie was a victim of gender-based violence in South Africa, and she did not survive. If you or anyone you know is a victim of gender-based violence in South Africa, please phone the number on the screen now. Until next time.